Greetings of the day to all my dear students. I hope that you all are in good health. Today, let us introspect. What do you mean by introspect? Let us analyze our own self. And I want to say that life is not a race, but indeed a journey. Be honest, work hard, be choosy, say thank you, I love you, and great job to someone each day. Take time for prayer, be thankful, love your life, and what you have been given is not accidental. Search for your purpose and do it as best you can. Dreaming does matter. It allows you to become that which you aspire to be. Laugh often, appreciate the little things in life, and enjoy them. Some of the best things really are free. Do not worry, forgive, it frees the soul. Take time for yourself, plan for longevity. Recognize the special people you have been blessed to know. Live for today, enjoy the moment. With this wonderful saying, this is Shreya Jadhav welcoming you all to my e-learning channel, and today we are going to do English grade 10 Supplementary Reading 6, The Making of Scientist, written by Robert W. Peterson. So, let us know something about the author. Robert W. Peterson, born 1925, died February 11, 2006, was an American newspaper writer who later became a freelance author of magazine articles and books, especially on topics of sports and scouting. His 1970 chronicle of Negro League baseball, entitled only "The Ball Was White," was hailed by the New York Times as having recaptured a lost era in baseball history and a rich facet of black life in America. The baseball commissioner at the time later credited Peterson's book with having focused greater attention on the accomplishments of Negro League players, leading taught for their admission to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Introduction for answer. Prose name, The Making of Scientist. Author's name, Robert Peterson. Genre, story. Summary. The Making of Scientist is a story about a leading scientist, Richard E. Bright. How curious he was when he was a child. So now let us go through the summary of the chapter. Richard E. Bright has received the Searle Scholar Award and the Skating Plough Award for biochemistry and molecular biology. It was his fascination for butterflies that opened the world of science to him. At the age of 22, he discovered how cells work with his colleague, roommate James R. Wong. His new theory on how cells works in butterflies was explained in an article in the Proceeding of National Academy of Science. This scientific journal had for the first time published the work of college students. Just like a batter in the game of baseball scores a home run after running safely around the field, Richard E. Bright also crossed all hurdles and did a successful research in insect work study, which he had started in his childhood. E. Bright, an only child, lived in Pennsylvania with his mother. His father died when he was in third grade, so he was everything for his mother. He couldn't play football or baseball as he was quite alone, so he collected things. He collected rocks, fossils, and coins. He started collecting butterflies when he was in second standard. Ebright's mother loved him very much and spent a lot of time with him. She took him on trips, bought him telescopes, microscopes, and cameras. She was his best friend. By the time he was in second grade, he had collected all 25 species of butterflies found around in his hometown. His mother brought him a book named Travels of Monarch X. That book told him how the monarch butterflies migrate to Central America. At the end of the book, the readers were asked to take butterflies for research. It was being done by Dr. Frederick A. Urquhart of Toronto University, Canada. Ebright started tagging monarch butterflies as it could be difficult chasing them. He started breeding them in his basement. When they became adults, he would take the butterflies' wings and let them go. When he was in seventh grade, he entered a country science fair and showed slides of frog tissues under a microscope. He didn't win a prize, so next he decided to do a real experiment. The next year, he did a project on insect work. For his 8th grade project, he tried to find a cause of viral disease which killed all monarch caterpillars. He thought the disease might be carried by a beetle, so he raised caterpillars in his presence of beetles, but he was unable to get any real results, but the project won a prize. Now, Ebright started to work on a project that viceroy butterflies copied monarchs. The theory was that viceroy butterflies would copy the monarch butterflies because birds don't like to eat monarchs. However, Ebright found that a starling would not eat ordinary bird food but would love to eat all the monarch it could get. This project got first prize in zoology division and got third prize all over in the country science fair. In the second year of his high school, Richard began to do research of an unknown hormone in 12 gold spots on monarch butterflies, which were considered to be ornamental. In his senior year, he proved that the cells of monarch pupa would develop into a normal butterfly wing only if they are fed the hormone of gold spots. This project won the first place in the country fair and an entry to International Science and Engineering Fair. There he won the third prize for zoology. He also got a chance to work during the summer at the entomology laboratory of Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. At high school junior, he continued his study, and that year his project on monarch butterfly won first prize at International Science Fair and gave him another chance to work in the army laboratory during the summer. In his senior year, he grew cells of monarch's wings in an army laboratory during the summer in a culture and showed that the cells would divide and develop into normal butterfly's wing scale only if they are fed the hormones from the gold spots. He spent the summer again after graduation doing further work at the Army Laboratory and the lab of US Department of Agriculture. The sophisticated instruments at the lab helped him to identify the chemical structure of the hormone. While studying the X-ray photographs of hormone, he found yet another important thing about how a cell can read the blueprint of its DNA. The DNA is a substance in nucleus of a cell that controls heredity. It determined the form and function of the cell. Ebright and his colleague roommate James R. Wong drew pictures and constructed plastic models of molecules to show how it could happen. Then they wrote the paper explaining the theory. Richard E. Bright graduated from Harvard with the highest honors and second in his class of 1,510 students. He then became a graduate student researcher at Harvard Medical School. If his DNA theory proves right, it would be a big step in understanding the processes of life and in preventing some types of cancers and other diseases. Ebright has also been a champion debater, public speaker, and a good canoeist, an all-round outdoor person, an expert photographer of nature and scientific exhibits. In school, he was a student and he also put his energy towards the debating and model United Nations Club. He admired his school social studies teacher and advisor Richard A. Wilmer, who opened their mind to new ideas. Richard was a competitive right from the beginning. His social studies teacher, Mr. Richard, praised him a lot. Ebright had all the qualities that make a true scientist. He was not interested in winning the prize, but he wanted to do the best job he could. He had the traits of a scientist. First, he had a first-rate mind, curiosity, and then the will to win. He never lost his scientific curiosity. So, dear students, this is all about the summary. Now we shall start the reading and explanation of the chapter. Supplementary 6, The Making of a Scientist. Richard E. Bright has received a Searle Scholar Award and Skirring Plough Award for biochemistry and molecular biology. It was his fascination for butterflies that opened the world of science to him. At the age of 22, a former Scout of the Year excited the scientific world with a new theory of how cells work. Richard H. E. Bright and his colleague roommate explained the theory in an article in the Proceedings of National Academy of Science. It was the first time this important scientific journal had ever published the work of college students. In sports, that would be like making a big league at the age of 15 and hitting a home run, your first time at bat. For Richard E. Bright, it was the first in a long string of achievements in science and other fields. and it all started with butterflies. So now it is something that at the age of 22, a former scout of the year, who was Richard E. Bright, was really very excited for his new theory on how cells work. He was performing this article with his roommate, and they explained about the article in the proceeding of National Academy of Science. This was really very important scientific journal for him, which was going to be published in college students' work. Moreover to that, it was for the, we can say, the first achievement in the field of him, and this all started with butterflies. As only child, E. Bright grew up north of Reading, Pennsylvania. There wasn't much I could do there, he said. I certainly couldn't play football or baseball with a team of one, but there was one thing I could do: collect things. So he did. And did he ever? Beginning in the kindergarten, Ebright collected butterflies with some same determination that has marked all his activities. He also collected rocks, fossils, and coins. He became an eager astronomer too, sometimes stargazing all night. So, this all started from his childhood, when he had a tendency of collecting various things. Things like what? Plenty of things. It would be anything. It would be rocks, fossils, coins. He was an eager astronomer. Also, he would gaze the sky whole night, full with stars. Because the place where he belonged, he didn't had more opportunity to play games. But still, whatever he had utilized it at its maximum. From the first, he had a driving curiosity along with a bright mind. He also had a mother who encouraged his interest in learning. She took him on trips, brought him telescopes and microscopes and cameras, mounting materials and other equipments, and helped him in many other ways. It was his only I was his only companion until he started school. His mother said, after that, I could bring home friends for him. But at night, we just did things together. Richie was my whole life after his father died, when Richie and was in third grade. She and her son spent almost every evening at the dining room table. If he didn't have things to do, I found work for him. Not physical work, but learning things. His mother said he liked it. He wanted to learn. And learn he did. He earned top grades in school. On everyday things, he was just like other kids, his mother said. By the time he was in second grade, Ebright had collected all 25 species of butterflies found around his hometown. So now, eventually what happened? That he was really bright student. He always used to manage everything in and around him. He was like an ordinary child, his mother used to tell. When he was in his third grade, he lost his father, and after that, for Richard as well as for his mother, they were companions of each other and they loved doing it. They used to spend maximum time with each other. They always used to share their special emotions, sentiments, hopes, feelings, everything. Over here, we can see the species and subspecies of butterflies collected in 6 weeks in reading. That probably would have been the end of my butterfly collecting, he said. But then my mother got me a children's book called The Travel of Monarch X. That book, which told how monarch butterfly migrate to Central America, opened the world of science to eager young collector. So now his mother always knew that he was really excellent child. His mother used to tell that he always wanted to learn something new. He was always having an open mind to all things. He never used to feel bad about it. Moreover to that, he thought that as he has collected all the 25 species of butterfly which were being found in his nearby area, he had achieved plenty of things. But at that time duration, his mother brought him a book. A book, it was a children's book. The book's name was The Travels of Monarch X. In that specific book, it was written that how the butterflies migrate to Central America, and that was a time, and at that time duration, it was, we can say, a stepping stone for him to start his journey as a scientist, and he became an eager young collector. At the end of the book, readers were invited to help study butterfly migrations. They were asked to take butterflies for research by Dr. Frederick A. of the University of Toronto, Canada. Ebright's mother wrote to Dr. Urquhart, and soon Ebright was attaching light adhesive tags to the wings of monarchs. Anyone who found a tag butterfly was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart. The butterfly collecting seasons around Reading last 6 weeks in late summer. If you are going to chase them one by one, you won't catch very many. So the next step for Ebright was to raise a flock of butterflies. He could catch the female monarch, take her eggs, raise them in his basement through their life cycle from egg to caterpillar to pupa to adult butterfly. Then he would take the butterfly's wings and let them go. For several years, his basement was home to thousands of monarchs in different stages of development. So now, when he read this whole book, it was a sort of help study for butterflies' migrations. And over there, Professor Frederick told that he was from the University of Toronto, Canada. And then his mother, Richard's mother, wrote to doctor saying that he was really very attracted towards this thing. And then he also said that he is attaching tags to the wings of the monarchs also. And this lasts for 6 weeks. But it was very difficult at that time duration to chase one butterfly. Okay, so Ebright thought that now it was a high time for him to raise butterflies. So he would take eggs from the female monarch, and then he would raise them in his basement through their life cycle from egg to caterpillar to pupa to adult butterfly. And then he would put the tags of butterflies' wings and would let them go. For several years, his basement was home to thousands of monarchs in different stages of development. You can see different types, numbers, and kinds of butterflies which were collected in 6 weeks. Eventually, I began to lose interest in taking butterflies. It's tedious and there's not much feedback, Ebright said. In all the time I did it, he laughed. Only 2 butterflies I had tagged were recaptured, and they were not more than 75 miles from where I lived. So slowly and gradually he started losing interest in taking butterfly because it was very difficult job, because he could not get much of a feedback. And only by all this time he was able to get two butterflies which were tagged and which were recaptured. And they were not more far away, they were only 75 miles away from him. Then, in the seventh grade, he got a hint of what real science is when he entered a country science fair and lost. It was really a sad feeling to sit there and not getting anything while everybody else had won something. Ebright said his entry was slides of frog tissues which he showed under a microscope. He realized the winners had tried to do real experiments, not simply make a neat display. So, now what happened that when he was in 7th grade, he participated in one of a country science fair, and at that time he lost it. And at that time he realized that now he was supposed to make something which was true, real. And he just showed some slides of frog tissues under a microscope. And that was not simply neat also. Already the competitive spirit that drives Richard E. Bright was appearing. I knew that for the next year's fair I would have to do a real experiment, he said. The subject I knew most about was the insect work I had been doing past several years. So he wrote to Dr. Urquhart for ideas, and back came the stack of suggestions for experiment. Those kept Ebright busy all through high school and led to prize projects in country and international science fair. So then he realized that now he was supposed to look for something which is real. And at that time duration, next year when he was in grade 8, he again participated, and this time he did a real experiment. And the experiment was on the insect work which he was doing for past several years. So he wrote to professor in Toronto, Canada, and there came plenty of suggestions and experiment. And this kept E. Bright busy all through his high school year, and which led him a fruitful results of winning country and international science fair. So dear students, today we are keeping it till here. In the next video lecture we shall continue with the chapter. I hope that you have understood till here. Thank you for watching and have a nice day everyone.